Only my hospitalized boss can approve my raise? Fine, I will speak to him, and it's gonna cost you 27K. A few jobs ago, I worked for a huge corporation as a software dev. After a few years there, I became project lead and successfully completed many projects that would net the company hundreds of thousands. One year in February, we started a project with 8 people. A few weeks into the project, I was basically doing all the work by myself because the rest of the people were fired or quit the job. What followed was 60+ hours of work for 9 months straight. I was still naive and thought that this would lead to a big raise in the upcoming performance review. Literally 4 days before the performance review, my boss Bob had a medical emergency and had to be hospitalized for a long time. So I scrambled, desperately trying to find somebody who could give me a well-deserved raise. Eventually, my boss's boss got back to me and told me that there's nothing they can do for me right now because Bob has to approve that raise. I'd either have to visit him in the hospital or wait until he gets back. What they obviously left out was the window of getting a raise would pass by the time Bob would get back to work. A very convenient way for them to screw me over. What the company didn't know was that I knew Bob from university. He's nearly 20 years older than me and decided to get his master's degree when he was in his 40s. We had quite a few classes together and became friends. Well, as much as you can be friends with a guy with a wife, 4 kids, and a crazy work schedule. So of course I visited Bob in the hospital. He was mostly fine, but had to stay for quite a few weeks for some surgeries. We spoke about the company for a while, and he told me he's gonna quit soon. I told him that I was thinking about doing the same if I didn't get a big raise. He said that we could try a big raise, but he's only allowed to give me X% each year, and anything above that gets automatically shut down by the higher-ups. Then he pondered for a while and eventually started laughing before shouting out, "Of course, the bonuses!" We sometimes got a smallish bonus for a big, successful project, the equivalent of slap in the face in paycheck form when you consider how much the company earned versus what you got from it. Remember how the project was for 8 people? It was still set up for 8 people and billed as such to the customer despite me doing all the work. Bob picked up the phone, called his secretary, and told him to file my performance review in a way that I get all 8 bonuses. It was roughly $2,500 to $4,000 per person, so 27K in total. Way more than I'd ever get out of a raise the following years. A few weeks went by and I thought for sure I was going to get an angry call from one of the higher-ups or the finances department at some point. But nope, the year ended, and I got a big fat bonus. I handed in my resignation letter shortly after. Bob fully recovered and also left the company a few months after me.